Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are taking a fascinating detour. Instead of analyzing modern policy documents or, technical economic forecasts,
Right.
our sources are the vibrant, sprawling worlds found within the classic literature of Rudyard Kipling, specifically. The animal stories that lay bare some really fundamental truths about society, law, and power.
That's absolutely right. And these narratives, they're drawn primarily from the Jungle Book, The White Seal, and those military stories in Her Majesty's Servants. People often just think of them as children's tales.
Yeah, they do.
But when you look closely, they operate as these profound allegories. They're almost like anthropological analyses of governance, social contracts, and, well, the brutal calculus needed for survival in these complex, competing ecosystems.
So our mission today is pretty surgical.
Yeah.
We're extracting the core nuggets of knowledge, things about leadership, obedience, identity, and that relentless search for safety. We're going to trace the line from, say, the ancient, harsh, sometimes brittle law of the jungle, all the way to the rigid life and death efficiency you see in the Indian Army's Transport Corps, guided by that phrase, hook 'em high. We want to know, what are the enduring codes that dictate survival, whether you've got paws or flippers or hoofs? Okay, so we jump straight into the jungle's legal code, and the first thing we hit is a violation of that code. But it's not just a violation, it's like a disruption of the whole economic balance of the place.
Right, Shere Khan.
Shere Khan, the tiger from the Waingunga River, he's already showing this, like, profound disrespect for the system. Father Wolf is instantly furious, not just because there's a cub involved.
No, it's more fundamental.
But because Shere Khan has no right to change his quarters without due warning. That specific rule.
Yeah, and that procedural detail, it's actually really key. The law of the jungle isn't just a suggestion, it's a mutual preservation pact, Shere Khan just shifts his hunting grounds without notice.
Which messes things up for everyone else.
Exactly. It spooks and scatters the legitimate game the wolves rely on. So he's putting his own selfish convenience above the stability of the whole free people. But then it gets worse, because he is hunting man, which is strictly forbidden, specifically this naked cub that just wanders into the cave.
And that's where we get that iconic moment, where loyalty just kind of transcends the law. Mother Wolf, Baraksha, her name means the demon, right?
Yeah, fierce.
She steps forward as this fierce defender, and it doesn't feel calculated. It feels like pure protective rage. She doesn't just deny Shere Khan the cub. She throws the ultimate insult at him, calls him Lungri, the lame one.
And she stakes her claim on the future right then and there.
With that prophecy.
A really powerful prophecy that basically dictates the rest of Mowgli's life. She roars, "He shall live to run with the pack and to hunt with the pack, and in the end, look you, hunter of little naked cubs, he shall hunt thee." She gives him the name Mowgli, the frog, and boom, the foundation of his protection is set.
But in the jungle, that primal emotion, it's only the starting point. It's not enough on its own.
Exactly. That protective rage, it has to be ratified by the community. Mowgli, the man-cub, he's a total anomaly, isn't he? A creature literally born to destroy the jungle, potentially. So he has to be presented at the council rock.
Under Akela, the head of the pack, for formal acceptance by the free people.
And the initial hurdle is huge. He gets accepted based on two really powerful endorsements, and they say a lot about how community buy-in works there. First, there's the good word of Baloo, the old brown bear. He's the serious, respected teacher of the law.
The authority figure.
Right. And the second one, which is intellectually, I think, way more complex, is the price paid by Bagheera, the Black Panther, one newly killed fat bull.
Okay, I want to pause on Bagheera's payment because the original analysis just sort of glossed over the psychological weight of that. It isn't just like a donation, is it? It feels more like he's buying freedom.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Bagheera reviews his secret later, doesn't he, to Mowgli. He says he was born among men in the royal cages at Udaipur, and he still has that mark, the bald patch under his jaw.
Mark of the collar.
Exactly, the mark of the collar. This is the real crux of the insight, I think. Bagheera is the ultimate hybrid. He's a creature who experienced actual confining captivity and then somehow achieved this ferocious freedom. He knew what it was like to be totally dependent on man.
So seeing another creature possibly caught between worlds.
He gets it. He intervenes with something tangible, with wealth. He understood that sometimes, even in the supposedly free jungle, true belonging and freedom, well, they have a quantifiable price, a real cost. And he was willing to pay it because he knew the alternative all too well.
So Mowgli's in. He's accepted. For 10 or 11 years, he lives under this kind of purchase protection, and he's constantly learning, just soaking up this dense curriculum from Baloo. And it's way more than just how to hunt.
Oh, much more. We're talking complex social rules, ecological rules, the wood laws, the water laws, how to spot a rotten branch before you trust it, how to speak politely to wild bees.
That one always gets me, speaking politely to bees.
Yeah, and even the formal protocol, the stranger's hunting call. Give me leave to hunt here because I am hungry. Very formal.
But why? Why all these seemingly arbitrary rules? Why does he need to learn to be polite to bees?
Well, think about it. Why do you need to be polite to the bees? Because the bees are this specialized, autonomous power center within the whole system. You might need their honey, but they can easily kill you if you mess up.
Right. Respect for specialized power.
Exactly. Learning the polite way to ask is a fundamental lesson in respecting that power, whether it's in an ecosystem or, a modern company structure. Knowledge here is literally security. Baloo even tells Bagheera that Mowgli must learn every single line of the law because, and this is chilling, is there anything in the jungle too little to be killed? No. Everything's dangerous.
Wow. Okay. So that intensive, detailed education is the only reason he actually survives. But as we know, that foundation of protection, it's kind of brittle. Safety is temporary.
It really is. And it collapses when the leadership structure starts to decay. Akela, the head of the pack, he gets old. And the law is brutal. It immediately labels any leader who misses a kill the dead wolf.
No room for error, no retirement plan.
None. And Shere Khan, remember him? The original disruptor? He leverages this weakness with, frankly, brilliant political strategy. He doesn't just attack Mowgli directly.
He uses propaganda.
Exactly. He convinces the younger wolves, the ones who maybe haven't learned the law as deeply, that a man-cub has no place among them. He stirs up hate precisely because, as the text says, they cannot meet thine eyes.
That detail about the gaze is so chilling. It really highlights that fundamental primal difference between man and beast. It's like this cognitive capacity in Mowgli that inspires a terror beyond just physical strength.
Yeah, the wolves look into Mowgli's eyes and they don't see a peer. They see maybe a future master, something alien. And Bagheera, he sees this coming. He recognizes the inevitable break, sees the legal system failing to protect its own adopted member.
And he gives Mowgli that grim warning.
Thou must go back to men at last. The collapse is imminent. So Bagheera instructs Mowgli to get the most uniquely human weapon there is.
The red flower. Fire.
Fire. And this isn't just about bringing power. It's about introducing a completely alien element into the jungle's whole power structure.
And the way Mowgli gets it really shows his hybrid status perfectly, doesn't it? He doesn't rush in violently.
No, he observes.
He watches the husband's wife feeding the fire, and then in the morning, he sees the man's child just calmly carrying out this wicker pot, plastered with earth, full of hot charcoal.
He's scientifically observing the civilized domestic routine of managing this weapon. The weapon he needs to survive the lawless threat back in the jungle. It's a perfect, almost clinical moment of transition, isn't it? He's bridging those two worlds through observation.
Okay, so we transition from that rigid, even if it's failing, law of the jungle, to its absolute opposite, the total chaos that erupts when law dissolves entirely. And that's embodied by the Bandar log, the monkey people.
The Bandar log. Yeah, they're perhaps Kipling's sharpest piece of social criticism. They are explicitly defined as being without a law, and crucially, having no remembrance.
No memory, no history.
Exactly. They boast, they lie, they use stolen words they don't understand, and they're constantly loudly pretending to be a great people about to do great affairs in the jungle, all talk.
But their real defining characteristic is just how unstable they are intellectually. They can't maintain culture or history or purpose for more than a minute, it seems.
The text says, the falling of a nut turns their minds to laughter and all is forgotten. Total lack of focus. They're forbidden to the jungle people precisely because of this mental volatility, this lack of integrity. They are the ultimate outcasts from the social contract.
So this lack of remembrance, it's the philosophical danger here. It's not just being forgetful.
Right. It's deeper than that. It's the inability to sustain cause and effect, to learn from history or to commit to any kind of long-term goal. They desperately crave attention and respect from the real jungle people, but they lack the discipline, the focus to actually earn it. They just seek constant novelty, which only guarantees constant chaos.
And Mowgli, feeling vulnerable, misunderstood. Baloo had just given him one of those required but still painful disciplinary love taps.
A necessary part of the law, but still upsetting for a kid.
Right. So he runs off in this fit of adolescent temper, and that's exactly when the lawless element strikes. The monkeys just snatch him. They kidnap him, thinking he'd be useful.
And their reason for kidnapping him just highlights their pathetic need for a leader, someone who can actually do something. They see his ability to weave sticks together for protection from the wind, this basic instinct he has from his human side.
From being a woodcutter's child.
Yeah, inherited knowledge. And they decide he will be their leader, build them a great new society. But of course, the irony is they lose interest in building anything almost immediately after kidnapping him. Classic Bandarlog.
They carry him off to the cold layers.
Yeah.
Which is just this magnificent symbolic setting, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A spectacular ruined city built by some king long ago, now totally deserted and avoided by most of the jungle people.
Why is it so symbolic?
Well, the cold layers represent the ultimate metaphor for empty human legacy, I think. It's a place of fallen grandeur, massive, beautiful, but utterly functionless now. It's only inhabited by creatures that nobody else respects.
Like the monkeys.
Exactly. It's the perfect home for a society without remembrance. A magnificent monument to a time when someone did sustain purpose, but now it just serves as a temporary playground for creatures who lack the cognitive capacity to even clean it up, let alone understand its history.
Thankfully, Mowgli is wise enough to use the knowledge he has acquired. As the monkeys are swinging him through the trees, he manages to give the kite call, the master word for the birds.
We be of one blood, thou and I.
Right, he tells Ran the kite to mark my trail, and let Baloo and Bagheera know where he is. Smart kid.
Very smart. And the rescue mission that follows, it demands an alliance with a different kind of authority, one that even the lawless elements still fear. They have to call in Kaa, the rock snake.
Baloo knows the score.
He does. He says, they, the Bandarlog, fear Kaa, the rock snake. And why? Because Kaa is ancient, he's cunning, he's always hungry, and he steals the young monkeys in the night. His motivation is beautifully simple and primal, hunger and pure revenge, because the monkeys mocked him, called him a speckled frog.
So the battle is ferocious when they get there. Mowgli's trapped in this ruined summer house, all white marble tracery.
That's beautiful description.
And he uses one final brilliant tactical move. He uses the snake's call again, but this time specifically to the powerful venomous cobras hiding in the ruins to protect himself. He shouts out, "We be of one blood, ye and I."
And they instantly respond, "Down hoods all! Stand still, little brother!" He's leveraging their rigid, predatory law for his own temporary self-preservation. It's brilliant.
But the fight, it pushes even the big guys, Baloo and Bagheera, past their limits. Bagheera totally overwhelmed by just the sheer chaotic mass of the monkeys.
He's forced to use that same desperate snake's call himself. You can feel the fear he thinks Kaa might have deserted them. To see the proud Black Panther reduced to calling out for mercy like that, it really shows the overwhelming danger that sheer, mindless chaos poses, even to organized strength.
But Kaa does arrive. And the descriptions are fantastic. It's not just slithering. His fighting strength is described like a half-ton battering ram. Just silent, massive striking blows that scatter the monkeys instantly.
Total annihilation. And he frees Mowgli by just smashing the marble wall of the summer house. Pow.
So, victory. But it's a temporary alliance, right? Law and primal force teamed up against chaos. But even after the rescue, the law still has to be upheld.
Yes. Mowgli is immediately forced to endure Baloo's punishment. A severe beating, really, that Baloo insists on calling love taps because he dealt with the outcasts.
That raises a crucial question, doesn't it? About these rigid legal systems. It sounds kind of barbaric, especially since he was rescued. The outcome was good.
Is the law advocating for accountability over outcome? Precisely. Baloo even mumbles, "Sorrow never stays punishment." The lesson is absolutely stark. Adherence to the law is non-negotiable, period. Regardless of the consequences or any subsequent good fortune.
You broke the rule, pay the price.
You broke the fundamental rule, do not deal with the lawless, and therefore, the punishment must be dealt now to reinstill respect for the social contract. It's the ultimate rigidity of a system designed primarily to preserve itself.
Wow. Okay. And the segment ends with that incredibly chilling display of primal force. God performs the dance of the hunger.
Hypnotizing the scattered monkeys, pulling them towards his coils. It's terrifying.
But what's truly fascinating, I think, is that Baloo and Bagheera, the wise ones, they get caught in the spell too. They start moving helplessly toward Kaa until Mowgli, the Man-Cub, physically pulls them away.
Because he realizes he's immune.
He's immune. Why?
It's the final lesson in this section, isn't it? That even the wisest, most rule-bound animals are still vulnerable to these primal hypnotic forces, the massive, slow, inevitable power of hunger and fear. Mowgli's immunity just underscores his difference. His human intellect, maybe, is able to recognize the pattern, resist the raw, overwhelming instinct that paralyzes his elders. He sees it from the outside, somehow.
So we've just seen the jungle people escaping that hypnotic primal force of Ka. Now let's shift gears and move to a different kind of overwhelming force. The crushing apathy of tradition. We see this in the seal rookeries of the Bering Sea, through the story of Kotick, the white seal.
Right, a totally different setting, different roles. The environment at Novastoshnah, it's defined by density, intense violence, and this tragic routine. We're talking over 1 million seals, constantly fighting just for space.
Sea Catch, Kotick's father, fought 45 times just to secure his little patch of beach.
Exactly. Their lives are already defined by internal combat. But even that is nothing compared to the tragedy inflicted by men.
The organized slaughter, where the men, the Aleuts like Carrick Buterin, they drive the Hollish-Chickie, that's the young, unmarried bachelor seals.
The ones without families to defend them yet.
Right. They drive them to the killing grounds at the salt house, where they're clubbed and skinned for their fur. And Kotick, this singular anomaly, the white seal, he witnesses this. And he is just utterly horrified.
His reaction kicks off this profound conflict, doesn't it? Between individual moral outrage on one side and deeply ingrained social acceptance or inertia on the other. Kotick is met with ridicule, immediate societal pushback.
The other seals, even the grizzled old bulls, they just tell, men have always driven us. It's just the way things are.
His own father tells him to basically just grow up, fight for a nursery, maintain the status quo. His mother, Matka, she tells him straight up, you will never be able to stop the killing. Total resignation.
It really is the sound of tradition just paralyzing any possibility of change. The system is brutal, sure, but it's predictable. And that predictability seems valued more than the risk of trying something new.
But Kotick refuses to accept that fatalism. He refuses to accept the herd mentality. He dedicates 5 whole seasons, years of his life to this empirical quest for safety, a scientific approach almost.
Which is a remarkable shift in strategy, isn't it? He rejects fighting the existing hierarchy the way his father told him to.
Right. And instead, he dedicates himself to exhaustive research. He swims up to 300 miles a day, barely escaping sharks, just constantly looking for an island where no man comes.
When his method is incredibly pragmatic. He figures if the beach looked good, if it promised refuge.
There was always the smoke of a whaler, always a sign of men. He checks really remote locations, Kerguelen, the Galapagos, and he confirms men have killed seals everywhere. He's basically doing a global survey of human impact and finding overwhelming evidence that his goal might actually be impossible.
His hope is almost gone. But then he finds this faint echo of a prophecy. An old, dying seal from the lost rookery of Masafuera.
Yeah, recalls of the legend that someday a white seal would come out of the north and lead the seal people to a quiet place.
So the prophecy doesn't give him proof, does it? It's more like...
It's the emotional fuel. It's what's required to sustain this seemingly impossible empirical search when all the data says, give up.
And then he finally finds his solution. And it's from the absolute unlikeliest of sources, the sea cow.
Oh, the sea cows. You have to pause on the sea cows.
They're described as practically immobile, uglier than Seevich, split lips, only 6 neck bones.
Ah.
They communicate by flipper telegraphy because they can't even speak properly.
It's genuinely hilarious, isn't it, that the great solitary quest of this unique white seal is finally answered by the slowest, maybe the most idiotic creatures in the entire ocean.
But there's wisdom there, isn't there? Hidden wisdom.
There's deep wisdom. Kotick realizes these slow, seemingly idiotic creatures, they must have found safety somehow. And how? Through utter obscurity, through being completely inconsequential.
If you're slow and useless, men just ignore you.
Exactly. They found safety by being beneath notice. It is the wisdom of the deliberately unassuming. Don't attract attention.
So he follows their deliberate, unhurried pace north. They lead him to this massive cliff, and they dive through a long, dark underwater tunnel, 20 fathoms deep, and on the other side...
Sanctuary. The new beaches are perfect. It's like nature designed them to exclude man. Smooth rock, hard sand playgrounds, protected by shoals way out at sea, 6 miles out.
And those sheer cliffs.
Perpendicular cliffs.
Okay.
No entry for men trying to scale them from the water. It's an ideal sanctuary, undetectable by human sight from the sea and inaccessible by ship. Kotick has used his intellect, his empirical effort, to solve a biological problem that his entire species had just accepted as unavoidable fate.
So he races back to Novastoshnah, ready to share this amazing discovery, only to be met with even more ridicule.
They laugh at him. The seals demand, basically, Remember, we've been fighting for our nurseries all this time. That's something you never did. The old hierarchy, the old way of proving yourself, demands a demonstration of traditional strength.
So he's forced to fight. Forced to fight for the right to save them.
He has to. He charges into the nurseries and he beats the grizzled old sea catches, just decisively overwhelming force. And the sources are really specific about why he wins.
It wasn't just luck or being special.
No. Kotick had never fasted for 4 months like the old breeding bulls do during mating season. That makes them weak. And his years of constant deep-sea swimming, his research trips, kept him in perfect fighting condition.
So his strength was the result of purpose, not just complacent tradition. He was fit because he was actively working towards a goal.
While the powerful elders had allowed themselves to become physically weak precisely because they were adhering to the old ceremonial fasting rules, it's a critical political lesson, really.
Definitely. So Kotick defeats the traditional leadership. He beats the system by proving he's stronger because he stepped outside it.
And he gathers this army, nearly 10,000 bachelors and older seals, willing to follow him through that terrifying underwater tunnel. He fulfills the prophecy not through magic or divine intervention, but through hard-won empirical experience and, frankly, fitness born of a higher purpose. He earned the right to lead by demonstrating superior capability and dedication.
That story of Kotick, individual action winning out against the rigidity of natural tradition, it sets up a perfect contrast with our next source, doesn't it?
It really does.
We jump completely out of the wild and into this rigidly ordered human system, the Indian Army's Animal Transport Corps. We're at Rawalpindi during a massive viceroy's review. There's chaos caused by these unpredictable camels brought by the Emir of Afghanistan.
And this whole segment is just a fascinating study in organizational philosophy. Here, survival doesn't rely on ancient tribal law like the jungle or individual empirical effort like Kotick. It relies on a rigid, learned hierarchy and absolute unquestioning obedience. Hukum hai.
It is an order.
Exactly. The animals are holding this sort of congress, discussing service, fighting, fear, and they reveal these 4 really distinct operational philosophies.
Okay, let's break them down. First, the cavalry, the troop horse, number 15, 9th Lancers. His focus is all on faith and speed, right?
Totally. He's about the fast charge, absolute trust in his rider, Dick Cunliffe, and being bridle-wise able to just spin instantly when the rein touches his neck. He accepts danger during the charge, but interestingly, he's profoundly unsettled by the smell of blood when he's off-duty, back in the lines.
Then you've got Billy the Screwgun Mule. He's like the ultimate professional skeptic.
He really is. He dismisses the horses charging as just foolish. His whole thing is scientific movement, slow, precise climbing, never silhouetting against the skyline, balancing the gun loads perfectly. His business is strategic, indirect fire from a distance.
He disdains the messy stuff.
Completely.
Yeah.
He disdains the messiness of close quarters combat, the knives, as he calls it. He represents caution, calculation, professionalism over heroics.
Okay, next, the gun bullocks. The ones who drag the massive siege guns. Their view is very different.
Almost mechanical, fatalistic. They just believe in fate. Whatever happens, happens. Their only operational reality is pull the gun in a straight line, shouting, "Hey, ahola!" And they just continue grazing, even under fire, like it doesn't register.
Because their strength comes from not thinking.
Pretty much. They don't engage in strategic calculation like the mule. They just follow their one basic programming pull. But beneath that fatalism, there's this terrifyingly primal pragmatism. They fear the white men. Why?
Because they eat us.
Yes. A deep-seated generational fear rooted in actual consumption. It contrasts the abstract dangers of war with the very concrete fear of ending up as rations. Very practical fear.
And finally, the voice of intellectual anxiety. Two Tails the elephant. He's described wonderfully as a pachydermatous anachronism. He's too smart for his own good.
That's exactly it. He knows precisely what will happen when a shell bursts. He understands the physics, the shrapnel, the impact, but he lacks the courage, or maybe the instinct, to ignore that knowledge.
So he's paralyzed by knowing too much.
He is. He says he's betwixt and between. Knows too much to be instinctively fearless like the bullocks, but not enough, or maybe not the right kind of knowledge, to overcome that paralyzing awareness. It's a powerful commentary, isn't it? How intellectual awareness facing brutal reality can sometimes just lead to anxiety and inaction.
And his irrational fear just proves it. He's terrified and bullied by Vixen, this tiny little barking dog.
Yeah, it confirms that deep knowledge doesn't automatically negate irrational vulnerabilities. He understands artillery, but a yappy terrier undoes him.
So we have all these conflicting perspectives: faith, calculation, fatalism, anxiety, and then the young recruit mule asks the core philosophical question that somehow unites them all.
Who gives the orders?
Right, who's actually in charge here?
And this is where hook 'em high comes in as the ultimate organizing principle. The response is unified from every single animal. Hook 'em high. It is an order. The philosophy is brutally simple. You obey the man next to you.
The driver, the sergeant, the lieutenant.
Up the rigid chain of command. This instant, localized, unquestioning obedience provides stability precisely because it removes individual judgment. It removes the paralyzing calculation that plagues two tails. You don't think, you just do what the guy next to you tells you.
And the native officer provides that final piece of the puzzle, explaining the whole chain of command to the visiting Central Asian chief. The driver obeys the sergeant, who obeys the lieutenant, up to the general,
who obeys the viceroy, who is himself the servant of the empress.
It's power through hierarchy.
Absolutely. The system functions flawlessly because everyone, from the lowest mule driver to the highest general, is a servant to a system greater than themselves. And this structure is starkly contrasted with the chaotic lawlessness of the Afghan chiefs, who, as the chief himself admits, obey only our own wills.
So the military order, hook 'em high, it's framed as the source of stability, order, and ultimately decisive power against those who just prize individual self-will above everything else. Okay, so let's circle back to Mowgli for his final act. This is the culmination of his jungle education and really the ultimate realization of his true identity. He finally fulfills Mother Wolf's prophecy.
And in an incredible display of tactical cunning, this isn't just a spontaneous fight like his earlier scraps. This is a planned military operation almost. It combines human intellect with deep jungle knowledge.
Gray Brother, his wolf brother, provides the critical intel, the reconnaissance. Shere Khan is back, he's eaten too much pig, he's lazy, sleeping heavily.
And waiting for Mowgli right at the village gate, arrogant, overconfident.
So Mowgli uses that slothful overconfidence against him. His plan is brilliant, requires really complex coordination. He gets Akela to help divide the buffalo herd.
Separating the cows and calves from the big, powerful bulls and the plow buffaloes, that takes serious skill with herd animals.
Then Mowgli actually rides Rama, the immense herd bull, leading this stampede of bulls down a steep-walled ravine, catching Shere Khan completely by surprise. The tiger's heavy from his meal, can't climb the sheer's sides fast enough.
And he's trampled to death. It's the ultimate triumph of human cunning, leveraged through jungle strength. The prophecy is fulfilled. The main antagonist is destroyed.
And Mowgli, now fully embracing his duality, he proceeds to skin the 10-foot tiger with his knife, which is this gruesome task, something a boy raised only in the village would never even attempt alone.
It's the final definitive act, isn't it? The one that separates him conclusively from the animal world, using a tool of man on the ultimate jungle predator.
But that victory in the animal world immediately creates this irreconcilable conflict with the human world. Buldeo, the arrogant village hunter, with his old musket.
He rushes up trying to claim the kill. For the reward, the 100 rupees.
And Mowgli uses Akela, the wolf, his intimidating presence, to just assert his claim. He tells Buldeo, "There's an old war between this lame tiger and myself, a very old war, and I have won."
Buldeo, of course, he can't comprehend the complexity of the jungle law, the history, the prophecy. He just sees a boy talking to a wolf next to a dead tiger, so he interprets it the only way he can.
Sorcery, black magic.
Exactly. He hobbles away terrified, spreading these tales of sorcery through the village.
And the man pack, the villagers, driven by fear of the unknown, fear of the supernatural, they reject Mowgli utterly, completely. Even Mesua, the woman who thought he might be her long-lost son Natu, even though she cries out to him.
They don't care. They pelt him with stones, shouting, "Sorcerer, wolf's brat, jungle demon, go away." Just total rejection.
The moment of absolute separation has arrived. He's beaten his greatest enemy using the cunning of man and the strength of the jungle.
Only to be cast out by both worlds. He's deemed too wild for man and ultimately too human for the wolf pack. He belongs nowhere.
He goes back to Mother Wolf's cave, spreads Shere Khan's huge hide on the council rock, fulfilling his original vow to the pack. And Akela, the old leader, lying on the skin, calls out the final judgment. Look well, O wolves.
And the leaderless, broken wolf pack, now seeing the consequences of their own earlier lawlessness, their betrayal of Mowgli, they beg him and Akela to leave them again. They plead for the return of order.
But Bagheera delivers the decisive, almost cynical judgment.
And this line is just so heavy with meaning. Bagheera purrs, "Not for nothing are ye called the free people. Ye fought for freedom, and it is yours. Eat it, O wolves."
Oof, what does it really mean? Eat it.
That is the bitter cost of unearned or perhaps misunderstood freedom. They chose self-will, chaos, following Shere Khan's whispers over the harsh, demanding law that protected them, and now they're left with the chaotic consequences of that choice. Bagheera's pronouncement is basically a condemnation. Your chaotic freedom is now your burden. Live with it, or starve in it.
And it's at this realization, understanding he has no pack, that the emotional dam finally breaks for Mowgli. He gets it. Man pack and wolf pack have cast me out.
And for the first time in his life, he cries. Real tears, tears such as men use. He realizes that this physical expression of sorrow, of betrayal, it means he is truly, irrevocably a man.
It's an emotional confirmation of his identity.
Exactly. Identity isn't just defined by physical attributes or the laws you learn, but by these internal, cognitive, emotional responses. His final song just sums up his whole existential dilemma. I am two Mowglis, fighting feelings he doesn't understand, the pain of betrayal mixed with the triumph of victory.
So he chooses solitude in the end.
He chooses to hunt alone, accompanied only by his 4 loyal wolf cubs, the sons of Grey Brother. He accepts his unique hybrid path. He belongs to himself outside both systems. #tagout outro.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive into social contracts, codes of conduct, all through these animal stories. We began by asking, what governing principles do these sources reveal about community, safety, leadership?
And the answer seems to be there isn't one single best way, is there? There are only ways that maybe match the specific circumstance.
Absolutely. We identified, 3 primary strategies for survival across these different stories?
Yeah, I think so. First, you had the law of the jungle. It required strict adherence, loyalty, but ultimately it failed when the leadership decayed, Akela getting old, and the law just couldn't contain those external threats like Shere Khan, or even internal ones like the pack's own fear.
Okay. Second, we saw the relentless, empirical action of Kodak, the white seal. He found permanent safety by defying that inertia of tradition, using persistent research and, importantly, fitness to defeat the complacent elders. He taught us that safety often lies just outside the borders of what everyone else accepts as known.
Right. And third, the cold, powerful efficiency of Hukmahai, the military order, which created tremendous strength through absolute, unquestioning hierarchy. A powerful lesson in stability through collective, coordinated action, even if it suppresses individual thought.
And we have to contrast all those with the ultimate code of the outcast, the lawless chaos of the Bandar log. Their boastful pretenses were constantly undermined by that critical lack of remembrance, of history, of purpose.
Good point. Synthesizing all that wisdom, you see that the greatest threats often seem to require an alliance with some kind of unexpected authority or unexpected knowledge. Mowgli needed the terrifying primal force of Ka and the human knowledge of fire. Kodak needed the idiotic, inconspicuous safety strategy discovered by the sea cow.
So success is found by knowing which type of wisdom may be primal or scientific or institutional to apply at the right moment.
I think that's a great way to put it. And finally, we highlighted the powerful, defining role of fear, didn't we? Every major animal character, from the majestic elephant Two Tails down to the disciplined troop horse, had a fear that really defined its actions.
The bullock's fear being eaten, the horse fears unguided movement.
And Two Tails, the intellectual, is paralyzed precisely because he knows the exact mechanisms of his own potential destruction.
So the material really suggests that the highest level of wisdom, maybe, is often defined by what you have learned to fear and what ancient truths or hard-won lessons you carry forward.
Yeah. So for you, the learner, maybe navigating a vast, complex organization or your own field, when do your greatest professional fears of chaos perhaps, or failure, or even change, when do those become your most valuable teachers?
Guiding you to recognize hidden dangers, maybe plot a safer, more strategic path. Just like Bagheera's scar, that mark of the collar, taught him the true price and value of freedom.
That is the enduring wisdom of this deep dive. Thank you for joining us.